Hello my friends, and welcome back to our new lesson number 26 or 27. So you might be thinking that today I'm uploading the lesson about how to fight like Roberto Duran. That's going to be next week's video, just because on this Saturday I'm going to be uploading part 2 of his fight with Sugar Ray Leonard, the first one. And then the following lesson is going to be about how to fight like him. Today's lesson is going to be about a little bit more about defense. Now, I did do a defense lesson early on, I think one of the first or second lessons, and a lot of people found a lot of, were really thankful for that one or found that very helpful. So I want to talk a little bit more about defense and how to improve your defense and all of that stuff. I'm just going to put my gloves on and then we'll talk about that. Now, if you watched the lesson, not the last one, the one before, about how to read your opponent's telltale signs or their tics, you notice I said you want to go in front of the mirror and you want to start learning your own tics and your own tell signs, and that way you could start reading them in other people, because if you notice them in yourself, you notice them in other people. Just like if you notice a bad habit in yourself, you could notice it in someone else, or a good habit in yourself, you can notice it in someone else. So the same thing goes for combinations and punching. Now, in the beginning, punches are going to be coming from everywhere. You're not going to be able to really be calm and relaxed when you're receiving punches. Now, what you want to do when you are in the ring is, first of all, don't worry about certain defense. So what I mean by certain defense is like being in the ring and blocking the hook, right? Or being in the ring and rolling under the left hook, or whatever it is. You don't want to concern yourself with that. You first want to be in the ring with both hands up, right? And learn how to block shots. So here, I'm blocking, my chin is down. I'm here, I'm blocking shots, right? And while you're blocking, what you're working on is just keeping your eyes open. Now, this is going to be the hardest thing for you. It was very hard for me to keep my eyes open. Sorry, I got to crack my knee. When I was taking punches, especially in the first days of sparring, because it's so foreign and it's very against your it's against the natural human whatever to keep their eyes open when they're about to get hit, right? So the natural thing to do is close your eyes and cover away from a punch, and that's, if you are doing that, that's not bad. I mean, it is bad for boxing, but it's nothing to be worried about. It just takes practice to get over it, right? And the way you're going to practice to get over it is in sparring or in drills, is having someone punch at you and keeping your eyes open and your hands up, right? Now, how did I get over this and be more calm in the ring? This sounds a little bit weird, but you're not going to die in sparring, right? If you have the right coach and the right team and the right gym, they're not going to let you die in sparring. So the worst thing that could happen to you in sparring is getting hit clean, and it's going to hurt. So that's the worst thing that's going to happen to you. Once you accept that, you kind of get over the feeling of I'm about to get hit, and you just accept it. Once you accept it, now you can start seeing stuff and keeping your eyes open and be relaxed in the ring, right? So I think worst case scenario, I'm not going to die in the ring, in the sparring, and hopefully not in the fight. So what am I going to do? I'm going to accept it. I'm going to be in there, and I'm going to welcome any punch. Now, I'm not welcoming every punch to get hit, but for now, I'm welcoming every punch because I just want to learn how to keep my eyes open, and I'm doing that, right? So here, keeping my eyes open, I'm taking punches on the guard, walking forward, walking backwards, walking to the side, stepping, right? But I'm staying real tight, and I'm keeping my eyes open. Now, the thing about keeping your guard up is not moving your hands up and down, right? So you want to keep your elbows, the first thing you want to protect, and if you've taken a body shot, you know this, you want to protect your body. Now you bring your chin down to your gloves. It's not the other way around where you bring your gloves up to your chin. You put your elbows on your body, you kind of cover up, and you bring your chin or your head down behind your gloves. Sorry, I got to sneeze. Oh, that was gross, sorry. You might have seen something fly out. Okay, so chin down, and I'm just learning to keep my eyes open and watching that. Now, how do you start reading what your opponent is about to throw? That's what I was talking about in the beginning, is notice what you throw, right? So I go in front of the mirror or I watch my tape of sparring. I throw 1-2s. I throw 1-2 hooks. I throw left uppercuts, left hooks, right? So there's a finite. Finite means there's a limited amount of combinations that can be thrown in boxing. So there's the combinations that were thrown in the 1950s are still the combinations that are thrown today. There's not going to be any new combinations because every type of combination has already been thrown, and that's because there's limiting factors, which is we all have two hands in boxing, and we have two legs, and we can't punch at the same time. It has to be one and then the other. So just off that, every combination that you could think of has been thrown, right? Now there's common combinations and there's uncommon combinations. For the most part, you're going to be facing common combinations, which is going to be 1-2 hook, double jab right, jab to the body, right hand, jab, right hook, left hook, jab, up, hook, body, okay? Once you've been boxing for a couple years, you'll notice that that's all the combinations there are. Not these ones, but there's more. But once you can realize that you're not going to see something crazy in the ring, the craziest thing you might see is an overhand right hand or a big left hook. Other than that, you're going to get accustomed, or you're going to start knowing all of the combinations in the ring, right? And this is why studying film helps, because you expose yourself to more combinations that you might not see in the gym. But my point is, once you know that these combinations exist and what they are, then you could start, like say the double jab right hand, catch, catch, dip, catch, catch, step back, block, catch, catch, block. Then you could start making combinations of your defense, if that makes sense. Because just how there's combinations of punches, so 1-2 hook, 1-2 hook, right? There's a combination of how to block that 1-2 hook, 1-2 hook, right? So my combination for my defense is the same as my combination for offense. As you build combinations for your offense, you should know how to block all those combinations or defend against them or those punches. So there's two types of combinations, defense and offense, right? So that's what you're going to get used to in the ring. Now to practice, now I'm getting ahead of myself. Before you get into those, you want to practice blocking every single punch or defending every single punch in as many ways as possible. And I'm going to try to go through every single punch. We're going to start with the jab. How do I take away my opponent's jab, or how do I defend against the jab? Okay, the first one is pretty simple. It's the catch. Now, where is the jab going to be aimed? It's going to be aimed at my face, hopefully. So I know where the jab is coming. My hand is here. And I'm right here. I'm hiding behind my chin, or I'm hiding my chin behind my glove, and all I'm doing is catching. Is just a slight flexion of your wrist. I'm not pawing at it, just here, right? And my chin is down, and I'm waiting for the jab to come, and then I catch. I'll drop my hand just so you guys could tell what I'm doing. I don't want to cover I'm catching the jab, catching, right? Now, when you catch, you want to keep your elbow in. You don't want to go like this. You want to keep your elbow in. I like being off the center line. And I have my right thumb or my backhand thumb close to my lead shoulder. And then I'm catching the jab that way. That's number one, is catching. Number two is parrying. A parry goes on the wrist of the opponent. So the jab is coming. I'm parrying it out of the way. It could be a little flick too, or it could be a little bit of a swipe. This one's a little bit more dangerous because you're exposing yourself for a bit. But parrying. I like parrying when I'm stepping to the right, that way, right? So catching, parrying, slipping. I already talked about the slipping, but there's a couple types of slips that I'm going to show you guys. We got the slip to the inside. slip, or this one's a slip to the outside of, if you're thinking of your own stance, you're slipping inside of your stance, you're slipping outside of your stance, right? Or if you're thinking about your opponent, you're slipping inside of their stance or slipping outside of their stance. It depends. So you could slip to the right, you could slip to the left, right? You could dip down. Sorry, I felt, see, I'm off balance. You could dip down, right? There's another one that I like doing, and I got this from Joe Fraser. I call it shrinking. It's like a dip, but basically just make yourself smaller. So I'm here or here. I just collapse everything and I shrink everything. This is one of my favorites because it's a lot more, less time consuming than a slip. It's just, you just get smaller and bend your legs and you shrink. You let that punch come over your back, right over your back, boom, boom. So it's kind of you're going downwards with a little bit of a slip. You're aiming your shoulder and you're slipping. There's that one. So catch, parry, slips, go down, shrink. You could lean back from the jab. You could block the jab, right? And so I counted like maybe 5, 6, 7 different things. 6, 7. You have to work on each one individually for rounds at a time. This isn't something that's going to come natural to you, so you have to build those building blocks up of taking care of the jab. There's also, if you're in the Philly shell, you roll your shoulder into the jab so it hits your arm. So you have to get good at each one of those, right? So get good at each one of those. Then you could start like catching, rolling, catching, slipping, catch, lean back. Then you could start adding them together, just like your punches. So when you first go in the gym, you're not learning combinations. You're learning the jab, you're learning the right hand, learning the uppercut, you're learning the hook. Once you learn all those punches, then you start putting them together in combinations. And that's the same thing with your defense. You learn each move on its own, and then you put it together in combination. Now we're gonna go over with the right hand. So the right hand, there's the basic block. You could block the right hand. You could block and roll to take something off of the right hand. So here, if your shoulder's down, you could roll the right hand, right? You could go under the right hand. So the right hand's coming at me. I dip down and I go under the right hand. The roll. You could, if you fight like this, some fighters block the right hand with their backhand. So just how you catch the jab. So they'll catch the jab and then go like this for the right hand. This one's a little bit more advanced because you're leaving yourself open for the hook. You could do that. You could dip under the right hand. You could shrink under the right hand. What else can you do? You could lean back from the right hand, which I don't want to do. And then you could step back from the right hand. You could also step back from the jab. I forgot to say that one. What else with the right hand? What else? Blocking, rolling, rolling. That's pretty much it for the right hand. So you're going to learn all of those, each one individually, and get good at those. And that's where you get your drills from with your partner. You work on just blocking the right hand, blocking the right hand, blocking the right hand, rolling the right hand, rolling the right hand, going under the right hand, and you get good at that, stepping back from the right hand. Now the left hook. The left hook is kind of similar to the right hand. You could block the hook. You could roll with the hook. You could go under the hook or step to the side under the hook. You could, that's pretty much it. The hook. No, that's pretty much it for the hook. So just block, roll under, roll with the hook. Just keep your hand up for the hook. So those ones are pretty simple. The jab is going to be the most variant for defenses because there's so many different ways you could get rid of the jab. The right hand and the hook, because the angle they come in at from the side, even the right hand, if it comes, oh yeah, I forgot to say the right hand you could slip. I might have said that. You could slip the right hand. The left hook is less because it's coming from one angle, so you could only block it one way, kind of. Now, uppercut, just how you catch the jab, you could catch an uppercut with your hand. So here, you could catch it. You could block it with your arm. So with this one, you're bending the legs, and you're doing a little bit of a twist, but you're keeping your elbow close to you. here so it skids off of your glove. With the right uppercut, you could do the same thing, twist and block at the same time. That's how you take care of the uppercuts. You could step back from an uppercut or catch it for the right hand. For the left uppercut, I like rolling with it and kind of keeping my elbow tight. For the jab to the body, you could, for the jab to the body, if you are standing square, you're going to have more trouble trying to block it. If you're standing more sideways, your elbow here should be enough. You could go like this or like this. You could bring them together. Although I don't like this one because it tends to keep the face open and it freezes you. I like getting rid of it fast. For this way, I like flicking it with my elbow when it comes, right? That's the jab to the body. The right hand to the body, you could kind of twist with it, right? You could step back with it. What else there is? The right hook, you just got to keep this one up. It's kind of like the left hook. You could roll under, but I don't like rolling under right hooks. The right hook, you don't see it that much from your opponent unless you're fighting someone that throws it a lot. That one, you're going to have to keep your hand out up, and it's going to be hard to see. So that's something that I would practice a lot, is the right hook, because you don't see it often. And when you are sparring against someone that throws it and you haven't seen it often, it's going to be hard to get rid of it. What else is there? Uppercuts to the body, same thing as this one, but you roll and put your elbow against your stomach, right? So those are all the defenses basically. Any punch you could step back from basically. Some punches you could crowd. So what's a punch you can crowd? The right hand. So the right hand's coming at me. I don't only slip it, but I slip it and step inside my opponent so I'm in their chest so they can't throw it again. Or if they throw the left hook, it'll be hard for them to land it. So I just explain almost every single type of defense for every punch that you're going to see, right? So if you want to pause this video at each time I say something and write that down. Now, all of these, you're going to work, that's what I would drill on defense. Drill all of these. There's a lot more defensive movements than punches. Once you learn all of these movements, now instead of in sparring, just holding my hands up, I could start, it's a little bit going to take more time, but I could start seeing the right hand coming and working on blocking that right hand, working on catching that jab, working on stepping back from that jab to the body, work on rolling under the hook, rolling on blocking the hook and rolling with it, right? So that's how you integrate the moves into your sparring, from this to being able to do all of that, okay? Now this thing is just your defensive hand movement with head movement. I should do a video on that. Okay, so work on each individual thing, build up all the bricks for your defense. Now you could start adding them together. And how do you add them together? Well, now you just think of punches that could be coming back at you, right? Or coming at you. And that's what I said in the beginning about there's a limited number of combinations. Now, when you've been boxing for a while, you should know what those combinations are. So say I'm going to block a 1-2 hook, 1-2 hook, 1-2 hook. Say I'm going to block the double jab left hook, catch, catch, roll, catch, catch, block, right? So you could do those. And now when you're in the fight or in your sparring, you're not going to just see punches coming at you. You're going to start categorizing them and seeing punches coming at you. You're going to start seeing the jab coming. You're going to start seeing the right hand coming. You're going to start seeing the body shot coming. And that's how you start being more defensively aware. But to do that, you first have to get used to the punches or know what the punches are and know what the combinations are. You first have to keep your eyes open. So when you keep your eyes open, you could see the jab coming. If you close your eyes, you won't see the right hand coming, right? So it just takes time, but that's how I like to break it down, is learn each move individually and then put them together in combinations. Then in your drills, instead of just catching one jab, you could catch a double jab and then roll a left hook. You could catch a double jab and then get rid of the right uppercut. You could catch the right uppercut, block the right hand, right? And then after that, once you get that good, Now you start adding punches, which is your counters. I should make a video on countering. That's the video that's missing so far. Then you start countering. So now I go like jab, jab, I catch, block. I come back with the right hand. I catch, block the hook, come back with the hook. I roll with the hook, come back with the hook. Catch the body shot, come back with the uppercut, add a right hand. And that takes time to build up. But my main point here is your defense. Don't get it mixed up and into a big bowl of I don't know what's going on. You're going to start needing to start seeing punches for what they are instead of just a fight and punches coming at you. Now, when you fight or spar a beginner, you're going to notice it's a lot harder to block their shots because they're very unpredictable because they haven't learned the punches yet. When you fight or spar someone that's more experienced, you're going to see that their punches are a lot easier to see. But they're going to be faster and harder, so they're not going to be easier to see, but they're going to you're going to be able to easily, or it's going to be easier for you to tell what punch it is. In the beginner, they're just going to be doing that, and you're just going to have to like get used to that. That's another thing of it in itself, is getting used to sparring and fighting beginners, keeping your hands up and just keeping your eyes on their chest, because they're going to open up a lot, and you just keep watching their midline, and then you start sneaking in shots and breaking them down. But with a trained fighter or a trained boxer, you're going to start seeing their punches coming, and it's going to be easier for you to block. What else do I want to say about defense? Defense. The reason I said you got to know what punches you throw first, to notice what punches in the mirror, to notice what your opponent might hit you with. Now, this is something that I'll explain to you right away. So imagine there's a mirror, and I hold my hands like this, right? I hold my hands in the Philly show. Let's think of that. I hold my hands like this. What would I hit myself with? What punches would I throw at myself? Okay, because like I said, all the boxing minds are pretty similar because there's only a limited number of punches. So I look in the mirror and I ask myself, what would I hit myself with, right? So if I'm standing like this, well, right away, this part is open, so maybe a jab to the chest or a right hand to the chest. This is open, so I would go with the overhand right? This is open, so I would throw a left hook. So those three punches, the jab to the chest, the overhand right, and the left hook. Now, when I spar someone and I'm giving them this look, I know kind of what they're thinking because I could see the openings that they are seeing, right? This is another reason that you have to find a stance and hand positioning that you could remember what you look like when you close your eyes, right? So you should be able to close your eyes, imagine yourself in front of yourself, and imagine where your hands are and what you look like in your imagination. And that's why when you constantly switch, like one day you're doing this, one day you're doing this, one day you're doing this, you don't get a clear picture of yourself in your head, and then you stop knowing what your openings are. So what you have to, now in the beginning, you're going to try different stances and hand positions, but as you get better and stick with it a little bit more, you should have your basic structure that you could remember off the top of your head with your eyes closed. And that way, when you're fighting someone, you could start seeing what they're seeing. And if I'm like this and I see their left hand's about to move, well, I know it might be a jab to the chest, right? So I might roll and come back with the right hand. That's just an example. Or if my hands are up here, I know that the right uppercut might come. So I'm going to be ready from here to catch that uppercut or roll with it and come back with the right hand. So you start guessing what your opponent's going to throw at you. And then by sparring and fighting, you gotta, my coach used to tell us to write down what punches we got hit with. You either do that or you build up a memory bank of what you got hit with or what they threw a lot at you, and you start working on better defending those, right? So that's kind of how you start guessing. All of that, all of what I've talked about in this lesson is to get back to this, is that's how you start reading what your opponent is going to throw. But the basis of it is looking in the mirror, looking at you and saying, what would I hit myself with? And that's kind of how I guess what my opponent's going to hit me with. Now, it's going to be a little bit different because a shorter fighter is going to have a different view of you. So a shorter fighter might see an overhand right? A tall fighter might see a straight down right. So that's when you start thinking of different heights. So if my opponent is taller than me, they don't have this view, they have this view. So their right hand might just come down at me. So I got to put my right hand up a little bit more, or I got to be ready to step in. Just an example. If I'm thinking as a short fighter, the short fighter is looking up at me. They might come over the top with the overhand right. They might throw a big left hook. So I got to be ready to stay tight and block or step away from those. If I'm fighting someone my height, it's a little bit easier because I could kind of tell what they're going to throw. Now, this isn't 100% accurate, but this is going to help you guess. Once you start guessing, you start noticing and writing down the things that you get hit with in sparring, and then you start being better and better and better at reading your opponent and what they're going to throw. Now, the thing I haven't talked about is watching them with your eyes. So the reason you watch the chest is if the left hand goes out like this, pretty big chance it's a left hook. If the left hand moves but the elbows don't, just like this, I mean they don't go out, pretty good chance it's a jab. If the right hand drops, or if they drop, it's a pretty good chance it's a right uppercut. If they just drop and go like this and their hand goes down, it might be an overhand right. If you see them here and they're kind of twisting, you might think that the right hand is coming. If you see them go down to the side, most of the time you know that it's going to be a body shot coming. So you start, that's why you also want to watch the chest, is because you'll start noticing their pre-punch things. So before they jab, like you're going to notice the left hand kind of move forward because you're watching the elbow too, and you're going to notice that happening. So you're going to be ready for the jab. You're going to notice their positioning. If someone's standing like this, completely sideways, I know for sure they're not throwing the right hand. They're going to either throw a jab or a hook or an uppercut. If someone's more square, I'm not expecting a long jab from them. I'm expecting a lead right hand from them. And that just comes with practice. So it's positioning, their hand movements, and their body positioning, and your own experience of what you've been hit with and looking in the mirror. And that's all. Ooh, I talked a lot today. Okay, next lesson, it's either going to be Duran or counters. I got to make a video on counters, or I'll make Duran and then the counters. But that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know what you want to see next. Have a great day, and bye.